Good morning, everyone. My name is Rooster, and these are 5 things to do before Whispers of the Old Gods hits. First of all, these are 5 things you better consider doing before the next expansion is released, which is next 26th of April or 27th of April if you live in Europe like me, or in Asia perhaps. Basically anywhere except the Americas who get it on the 26th, but that's the disadvantage of living in a different time zone, I guess. But enough of that, let's get started. First of all, legendary quests. For those of you that may have missed it, upon the launch of Whispers of the Old Gods, everyone gets 3 packs of the new expansion, as well as the legendary Cthulhu and 2 followers. But what was just announced, I think yesterday, yesterday, everyone also gets a quest to win 2 standard games for 5 more packs, and afterwards win 7 more games for 5 additional packs. So something to consider here is that these legendary quests, so-called, will be added automatically to your quest log, and they will replace the lowest progress quest if you don't have any space for that quest. So before the evening of the 26th or 27th, be sure to have at least 2 spaces. It's a minor thing, but losing a quest is actually quite relevant. It's half a booster. Something perhaps a little more important is the Goblins vs. Gnomes expansion will no longer be available for purchase once Whispers of the Old Gods hits. But if you still want a decent number of cards from this set, you may consider just buying a few boosters before they disappear from the store, because it's really inefficient if you end up having to craft those cards. Do note here that if you end up crafting cards from Whispers of the Old Gods instead, because you didn't buy enough boosters of those, and you really want to use those cards in your standard or perhaps even your wild decks, then you'll end up still losing dust. So err on the side of not buying GVG boosters and instead just buying boosters from the new set. But if there's a decent amount of cards that you still need from GVG, then you could consider it. Something to also keep in mind concerning this is the so-called pity timer. What is a pity timer? It means that there is a guaranteed legendary card when you have opened 40 boosters of the same set. So what this means is, on average, you'll find a legendary card in, I would say, 20 boosters. 1 in 20 boosters will contain a legendary card. But if you have a really bad luck streak, to prevent those really bad luck streaks, your 40th booster of a set is guaranteed to have a legendary card. And that also means that your first booster has a reduced chance, and the later you get, the higher your chance becomes. So if you haven't seen a Goblin vs. Gnomes Legend in a few packs, you could just consider buying GVG boosters until you hit a legendary when your chance is the absolute lowest, and then stop buying them and instead buy packs for the new set. Which is something that I've done myself, and seems like a pretty good deal, because having a high chance of legendary means you're getting, on average, a pretty good dust ratio from your booster. So, for example, since you've opened Hammett Messingwary from the GVG set, you've opened 20 boosters from that same set. That is important. Don't count boosters that are not from the same set. Every set has its separate pity timer. So you've opened 20 boosters and you found no legend. So in the next 20 boosters, you're guaranteed at least 1. So you might consider just buying boosters, which will be at absolute maximum 20 boosters. You're guaranteed to find a legendary card, which is at the very least 400 dust, which is acceptable. Alright, next point, Curse of Naxxramas, which will also be removed from the store when Whispers of the Old Gods hits. Now, if you don't own Curse of Naxxramas yet, if you don't own any Wings of the Adventure yet, then that means that it will no longer be available for you. But if you own even just 1 wing of the adventure, then you can buy the remainder of the set at any time. They will be available forever to you. So if you consider playing Wild, at least slightly, and you don't own the first wing of Curse of Naxxramas yet, you will absolutely want to buy it. So throw some of your saved gold at it, buy it if necessary. It's like $8 or something. You will regret it if you are still playing Hearthstone in a year from now. Third point, these cards will be nerfed once Whispers of the Old Gods hits. So Master of Disguise, Blade Flurry, Keeper of the Grove, Knife Juggler, Arcane Golem, Ironbeak Owl, Leper Gnome, Ancient of Lore, Force of Nature, and Big Game Hunter will disenchant for full value once the new expansion hits. So that means don't disenchant any of these cards before the expansion, and when the expansion hits, you pretty much always want to disenchant all of them. Because you're getting full dust value, you're not really losing anything by disenchanting these cards, and if you have to enchant them again later, you're just paying the same price that you got for disenchanting them. So unless you need them for decks immediately and you want to immediately play with those cards, you probably just want to disenchant every single copy of those cards that you own, because you're not losing any dust, and if you don't end up needing them, or if you open them for boosters later, you've gained dust. Profit. And finally, last but not least, there are the reward cards. Old Murk-Eye and Captain Spirit. Now these cards are currently awarded for owning certain combinations of basic and classic cards, and you get them for free if you own the set of cards that is required. Once Whispers of the Old Gods hits, this will no longer be the case. You will no longer get these cards for free, but instead you can craft them if you find you need them. Something to also keep in mind is that these cards will not be standard legal. If you think you want to craft these cards at some point in the future, you might consider just getting them for free now by crafting a couple other cards. So let's take a look at Captain Spirit. It's the least relevant example, A, because the card is just not that good, and B, because it's actually rather expensive to craft. So the cards required here are Bloodsail Raider, Dread Corsair, Southsea Deckhand, Bloodsail Corsair, Southsea Captain, and Captain Greenskin. These are all pirates in the classic set. So if you're missing any of these cards, you could craft the remaining copies. You only need one copy of each, and then you get 2 Captain Spirits. You can disenchant the Captain Spirits afterwards, so you get 200 dust. Probably not worth it unless you already own a Captain Greenskin and a Southsea Captain. So if you want the Captain Spirits, craft the remaining cards of this list that you need, and you get them for free. If you're not interested in Captain Spirits, just forget about it, no problem, but do consider it, at the very least. The interesting case here to look at is Old Murk-Eye. Mostly because most of the Murlocs are actually basic cards, so you already own 4 of these. So the cards you actually need to craft to get Old Murk-Eye are Coldlight Oracle, Coldlight Seer, Murloc Tidecaller, and Murloc Warleader. This will cost you a total of 700 dust, which is not a lot, and if you end up needing Old Murk-Eye later, you will be set back 1600 dust. And even, most of you will probably own a couple of these cards. If all you have to do is craft a Murloc Warleader, for example, that will set you back 400 dust, and you could, theoretically, just disenchant Old Murk-Eye if you don't really need it, and get your 400 dust back, so you basically crafted a free Murloc Warleader. So definitely consider crafting the requisite Murlocs to get Old Murk-Eye if you're remotely interested in playing Murlocs. Probably mostly in Wild, because in Wild, Old Murk-Eye will probably be relevant. Now some of you might be fanatic enough to want a golden Old Murk-Eye, and that would set you back 3,200 dust to craft the card after the reward is revoked. So that's quite an expense if you can just get the card for free. But what you have to do for this is not only craft all these 4 cards in golden, which will set you back 4,000 dust, but also you need a golden version of the basic Murlocs, which requires you to level a Paladin to level 53, a rogue to level 53, a warlock to level 53, and a priest to level 51. That may be a bit too much for most of you, and most of you who are interested in golden murlocs might want to consider it though. If you're close to this, you could probably make a decent case for just putting in the requisite effort or dust and get your golden old Murk-Eye for free. Alright, that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has been of some use for you, and I'll see you next time.